All right, so 2017 F-150 wipers are moving real slow, or stopping in the middle of the wipe. They'll get about halfway up and stop. So I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do this here. Make it real easy, and I am not replacing the entire wiper arm assembly. So thanks to another guy on YouTube that showed this, and the part that seizes up, you can see that right there. That is the passenger side transmission assembly, whatever they're calling it. So that thing gets full of rust and seizes up, doesn't want to move. So there's a guy on YouTube, and I'll have to find him and tag him in this, but he drilled this and put a bunch of penetrating oil in there. I'm going to go one step further and get it freed up with penetrating oil, and then drill and tap it for some grease fittings so that this doesn't happen again. Alright, so the wiper assembly, motor and all, arms and everything are held in with 3 different 8mm bolts. Those are right there. That's passenger side. I am taking out this other cowling. You got 2 plastic push pins. You got one over there. You got one right here. You got a 7mm bolt right here. Take out, remove that, and that gives you access to the last 8mm bolt that holds this whole assembly in. Alright, so this came out in under 5 minutes. So you have 3 8mm bolts that hold it down, and once you take off that other cowling and the 3 bolts are out, all you have to do is your electrical connector, which is a red tab, slide it, pinch it, pull it out, and then you're left with this. This is supposedly the culprit right here, which, as we can see here, this is Michigan, and we do have a lot of salt in the roads, so that is corroded and it is locked up. This whole assembly should have pivoted when I removed it. It did not, so I'm probably going to grease that one as well. I'm going to stick some grease fittings in there, drill and tap them, and see if I can't get this thing to come free. Alright, so at this point I've drilled 2 holes in this thing, put some blaster down in there. This one is definitely seized. It will not move at all. This one's questionable. I haven't gotten to this one yet, but this one is definitely seized, as evidenced by all the rust in the bottom there. So I am going to heat it up with the MAP gas torch here, just very lightly, and see if I can tap it free. Alright, so I got the 2 holes in there and working this back and forth. It is moving, and it appears to be a plastic bushing in there. Now you guys are probably going to sit there and go, oh, why didn't you just replace it? It's only a few $100. Yeah, it's a few $100. Well, I can do this in under an hour. It's not that hard. Also, the guy that I found whose video initially I learned this from, Philip Bailey. So thank you, Philip Bailey. You're saving me a couple $100 today. We'll keep spraying this, keep heating it very lightly, and keep working it. Alright, so at this point I have this thing tapped for a grease fitting. I just got to tighten it down, and this is, obviously it's moved a lot more, and I can make about 270-degree turn in this thing right now before it starts getting tight. So I'm going to heat it a little bit more and pump it full of grease and see what happens. Alright, so this dumbass idea seems to have worked. I'm going to put more grease fitting in the bottom here, and she's moving nice and free now. When you gotta get this off there, you just take a, there's my cheap one, just a door popper tool. My snap-on one was just a bit too small. This one's fairly large. Yeah, so that just pops right off of there, and then you can start working that back and forth. That way you don't have to mess with the motor and timing, and although I did make a couple marks on here to denote where my timing was at, so yeah, that might actually work. We'll see. I'm gonna pop back in the truck, and we'll see what happens.